we're recording.
Hi, good afternoon, folks. This is Jack McMurray, and I'm with Paul Hamilton. And we are in Hamilton Farms Greenhouse. And, today we're going to discuss our greenhouse, its fruition, and the vision for it, and the different types of gardening we do, and the products that we use in our restaurant. And then we're going to make a sample salad with breaded bread. So, Paul, can you tell us where you got the idea to get this going and what's the purpose?
So I spent the first 18 years of my life trying to get off a farm. And then since then, I've been trying to do everything I could to get back on one. But unfortunately, we're in downtown St. Louis, so traditional farm isn't necessarily an option. Although we did start with a 4-acre traditional farm across the street on the south side of Shoto, right across from Hamilton Steakhouse. We got a 4-acre there where we do all of our root vegetables, our spring and fall root vegetables. We also do tomatoes over there, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, carrots, radishes, turnips. We also do eggplant over there, herbs, anything that that really is a vining plant or something that is too large to take up in these towers, we do in the traditional way. What we did with the towers, we started that actually in the parking lot as well. We had 20 towers at that time, and we did our leafy greens. One thing about leafy greens, when you do them in the soil, is it's a mess. When you go to clean them, it takes longer to wash and clean the greens than it does to actually harvest the greens. So we decided to use the towers for all green vegetables. So that would include your lettuces. I have some here as an example. So herbs that we do in the towers, these are 2 different types of basils. We also do fennel bulbs, and then we also use the fennel itself. That's a fennel frond. This is actually it's a variety of collard, but it's called it's actually in the not the Swiss chard, but the kale family. Speaking of kale, we've got kale here. This is a Swiss chard. This is we do romaine lettuce. This is a fancy leaf lettuce. This is actually sorrel. This is mustard green, and this is bib lettuce. So,
What else do we have in here that besides the towers that we're doing? I see we have trays down below and racks over here.
So we do 4 different types of growing in hydroponic. We have the towers, which is actually called Aeroponics. It actually uses the roots. You take a look here. Actually doing my plant, but there's the there's the root system. So the idea behind that is that the roots are oxygenated more often. So it actually showers that down onto the root, and then it only does that for about 5 minutes, and then the other 10 minutes it actually gets oxygen. So it grows a lot faster. That's the one method that we use. The other method is down here on the floor. This is called a flood system. This is where we're also doing lettuces. This is a more traditional hydroponic method that they use for bib lettuces and the different lettuces you see, gourmet lettuces in the grocery store. When that is ready, they'll just pick them out, and we just cut the roots off, and it's really easy, quick, clean harvest. The system that you see over here is actually, it was originally designed as a fodder system for farms, and they converted it for microgreens. So we don't have any microgreens in here right now because our restaurants aren't open, but we do grow microgreens in here, all different varieties, different types of shoots, pea shoots, corn shoots. You can do pretty much anything you want. We also have grown lettuces in these too, in more of a traditional hydroponic manner. So we kind of sometimes use it for both. And then our 4th hydroponic system is actually indoors. It's in our basement, which is in the basement of the Vindiset PW Pizza and Milan building. And that particular system, we use low voltage LED grow lights that are water cooled, and we use a flood system just like the one that's on the floor here. So the difference there is that it's in a totally controlled environment. One of the problems we have in the greenhouse in the summertime is the heat. Lettuces do not like it to be very hot. And so we do have a challenge in our summer months trying to produce lettuce without it getting what's called bolting, which it gets too much sunlight and it starts to go to seed. Down in the basement, that doesn't happen. We're also able to dial in the LED lights in the basement to be a specific light spectrum that reduces the nitrogen in the plants and increases the antioxidants. So it's actually a healthier lettuce. It's almost like a super lettuce, so to speak, by just dialing in that exact light spectrum that it wants. We can also change the light spectrum based on if we're doing red leaf lettuces or if we're doing green leaf lettuces. So that system is not 100% operational at this time, but it will be probably within a week or two. And then we'll transfer a lot of our actual lettuces from here over to there, and then we're going to grow more hardy greens in the summer. So the greens that grow well in the summer would be the collards here. This is a bok choy, the chard, the kale. Obviously, basil does great in the summertime, and so does mustard greens. So we'll probably be doing most of those things. If Jason's going to turn around here and show you the strawberry plants. So those also do very well in the summer. We just actually put those in 2 weeks ago. So we're hoping to get a fall harvest off of those, late summer fall harvest. Those will actually harvest throughout the year. The one thing I just wanted to kind of explain to you about how this system works, it's all automated. So it's very easy with one condition, that you don't lose power. So if we lose power, it's going to be a problem. The way this system works is it's gravity fed. We have in the back of the greenhouse 2 nutrient solutions that get mixed together. Those nutrient solutions go together, and then they're in this tub. Jason could maybe show the tub here. If you follow me back here, I'll show you. For nutrient solutions, we've got an A and a B solution. One's a basic, one's acidic, and it goes into here. It mixes it automatically with a system called a dosinator. It goes into here, and it's gravity fed then into the tanks. Each one of these bins or tubs has a float in it. And when it needs water, it automatically puts a nutrient solution in the tower. The tower then, every 15 minutes, pumps water from here to the top, and it showers these plants with the nutrient solution, which allows them to grow and also get the roots oxygenated. Our only issue we have is basically if the power runs out or goes out, or if we have a tripped breaker, which does happen. I'll show you an example that happened actually this morning. So you see these are beautiful. This is wilted. So this is what happens when we lose power in the tower. Now this will come back. This has only been turned on for the last hour. It'll come back by the end of the day. It'll look great. But if we were to let it go more than a day, it would probably ruin the crop and we would lose it. The nice thing about our greenhouse here is that the restaurants are directly next door. And so these lettuces and plants and greens are all picked the day that we actually serve them. So that you're not going to ever get fresher ingredients in the city of St. Louis than you would at our restaurants.
That's the back door right there.
So there's the back door of Hamilton Steakhouse you see through the greenhouse. So the chef can walk right over here, pick his greens, and head back over to the restaurant and prepare. Jack?
So we've been working with Ben Wolf, Gardner, and playing with a lot of new varieties this year. And just what taste I like with those would be more so for the microgreens we do. Use them in the 7-Eleven and Hamilton Steakhouse, and as well as Milan special events. For me as a chef, I'm a kid in the candy store. To come in and see this, because 6 weeks ago this was all taken down, completely cleaned out, and we restarted this year, cleaning them up and ready to go. So to walk in here and see the vibrant health. For taste purposes, these greens are incredibly tender. So 100% different than the commercial variety. They really melt in your mouth. In a little while, we're going to make a little French Dijon vinaigrette. We're going to cut up the greens, a little bit of the herbs, and just make a nice salad for that. Paul, I wanted to also ask you, having this on site, having it so fresh for the restaurants, how the customers like the product and receive it?
I think it's going really well. We've been doing it for quite some time now. We started this in 2017, and we started the traditional garden 2 years earlier. We were, right off the bat, got a lot of notoriety and some press about it. And the fact that the guests know that they're eating something that is right down the street, and literally, we reduced the carbon footprint tremendously. All of these systems use very little water in comparison to traditional farming. There's no trucking involved, so you don't have any of the carbon emissions. For the trucking companies that have to typically bring lettuce and things from California or Florida, We're doing it all right here. So that's the one thing that I think the guests appreciate the most, is that we're being very environmentally conscious about what we're doing. The fact that this is very, very high quality, and we're able to grow and produce varieties that are not readily available in St. Louis, certainly not through some of our purveyors. That's another plus that I think people enjoy. So they're able to eat and taste different types of lettuces and different types of greens and herbs that they're not really even used to or have access to in the grocery store.
So you talked about Colorado. This is the 4th growing season. What have you learned each season?
So each season's been a little bit different. So we've had issues with pests in the past. We are addressing that this year by putting some screening in the past. We were trying to do both leaf vegetables and vegetables that had to be pollinated, and we left the greenhouse open so that it could be the pollination could happen naturally. But we decided to move pollination items over to the traditional garden, where we also keep bees. Bees help produce the fruit over there, and it actually works well for them as well. And then over here, we're now just going to stick with the leafy greens so we can screen it in, and we don't have to worry about the pests. We also increased our procedures, not necessarily from a sanitation standpoint, but from a bacterial standpoint in regard to mold and in regard to aphids and things like that. So we have procedures in place now that we can come in the greenhouse and can't, and how they can clean their shoes and things like that so they don't bring stuff in that could be detrimental to our crop.
I'm going to cut up some of the lettuces and you describe which ones you have. I like to come in and just pick the lettuce and chew on them, and you get the different spices from each one and the butterness, like the butter crunch. So I'm just going to, cut up
While you're cutting those things, the only other thing I would say is what's nice about this greenhouse is not only is the growing system automated, but the greenhouse is automated as well. We actually have a weather station on the outside of the greenhouse. It knows exactly what time of year the sun comes up in this geographical zone. Our lights are not timed on a timer based on the time of day, but it's based on when the sun rises and when the sun sets. So our lights will come on prior to the sun rising in the wintertime, and obviously they come on prior to the sun setting in the wintertime as well. The other thing is it tests humidity, airflow. It knows exactly when to turn the heaters on, whatever the temperature inside reaches. And then it also knows when to open and close the vents in the greenhouse. Now, the one thing we can control is heat up until summertime. But after that, summer pretty much ends up being wide open, and we just have to deal with the weather as it is. But we do try to fight that a little bit with fans, and we also have some what are called swamp coolers that we bring in that blow water over running water, or blow air over running water, which then in turn lowers the temperature sometimes up to 20 degrees. So that helps a little bit as well.
So I like to take a classic Dijon vinaigrette with a French sherry. We have Dijon mustard, and then shallots and classic French and garlic, and just mince up a little bit of the duo with the basils. And then this will, I don't go super small with these, Paul. I like to have it in the bite as well. And then we're going to take that here. And then we have, so Bob, he's the most general manager, exec chef at Level 11. Been with you guys 12 years. We've known each other about 15 years. And I'm a beekeeper as well for about a dozen years. And Bob's been there 5 years. And it's an incredible hobby. It's great for the system. And so we're going to, so from our spicy Dijon and the sour, the vinegar, we're going to do probably a couple tablespoons of the honey, okay? And it's raw. So therefore, the impurities and all the vitamins are still in it. And we're going to just do a little bit of excellent oil. And it can break. The vinaigrette does break. Dijon mustard is a natural emulsifier. So I like a little break in it, some sheen. Okay, and then we'll do a little bit of pepper. Oops, get this. Let's go, trio of peppers. You just chop these up. And we take, we sear off shrimp, and we will chill them. It's a nice summer salad. And we're gonna take this bowl here. Little trick with salad dressing is to be perfectly dressed. And these herbs go into that. And then you want to mix it up really good. And a little bit more salt right on the end there. With the sea salt, which will be a nice sharp flavor. Very colorful, crunchy salad. It's incredibly healthy. And then we have a smoker as well. You can do smoked shrimp and whatnot. And that's just a really tasty salad. So, I mean, that's a filling meal, incredibly healthy, and not filling. You know, like it fills you. You're not like eating fettuccine alfredo.
And the only thing that didn't come from the greenhouse is the shrimp in the dish. And that's pretty cool. One thing I do want to point out, so it's very important for us when we harvest these crops. So today is a beautiful day out. It's not even, I think the temperature's in the low 60s.
It's cooking in here.
It's very hot in the greenhouse. So we have to pick very quickly, and we have to put everything in the refrigerator as fast as possible. So we picked these vegetables literally 5 minutes before we started this video. And you see they're already wilting. See how they're already drooping? So the key when we do this is we pick whole heads. So we take the whole heads, which the root is still on them, and then we go ahead and we put them into the cooler with the root system still intact. That keeps that lettuce alive. So it's actually still a living plant until we actually remove the root from the lettuce itself. And so we don't actually remove the root until we deliver it to the restaurants, or the restaurants come and pick it up. So it'll sit in the cooler. We've got a large walk-in cooler, and we actually have a reach-in cooler here that we put things in temporarily until we have a large enough batch to then run them over to the walk-in cooler, which is in a warehouse that's directly next to the greenhouse.
So with the product that's clean, the chefs save time. They don't have to wash it at all. Just as long as it gets chilled right away, we have a crisp lettuce, and the chef handles it properly. You don't stack it heavily, you do a couple hundred covers. You don't fill the drawer for 100 salads. You have bins in it, so you're not crushing it. Keeping integrity to the salad is really important. And I wanted to talk about when we were discussing in January. You're talking with our 8 chefs and 2 chefs and saying, "Here, guys, we're going to grow this year." I mean, that's many people talk about that in January.
Right. Yeah, and you have to decide ahead of time. We have to order the seeds, and we have to get the seedling started. So, a perfect example is in our traditional garden. I actually started the pepper and tomato plants in February. So the end of February, I planted them in the seedling trays, and it took them until now. We just planted the garden 2 days ago, and it took that amount of time to get the seedlings ready. So when you go to the store and you're buying your seedlings for your garden at home, someone planted those back in February to make them look as nice as they did the day you bought them. And that's kind of what we have to do too. So you have to time it. You need to do your planting in January, so you get seedlings or seeds in the soil or in the rock wool. That's another thing we use is rock wool in here. I didn't talk about that. But this is what's called a little rock wool cube. It's an inorganic straight. It's made of rock that's spun almost like a cotton candy. All that does is it gives the root something to grow into, so that it has some sort of structure, so that it will hold itself into those towers. But you have to think ahead. And with the other part of the lettuce cycle is only 6 weeks. So you have to have the rotation set up properly, so that when you're picking ahead, as soon as we empty a tower of heads, we can go ahead and plop those seedlings, rock wool seeds right back in, and then before we serve it. And that's part of us, all having communication. How busy are the restaurant? Obviously we're shut down a little bit, but once we get back up and running, how's the gardener, how's he tying up what's growing and getting to the maximum? Because these can't overgrow and be all apart, not deep. One of my favorites are microgreens, and they come in 2 weeks, and there's just literally hundreds of flavors of that. And that I look forward to getting that system going. And there's really 2 or 3 issues of microgreens that have this burst of flavor. You may think it's extremely fine dining style, but we're doing it because of the flavor and the heart of the dish. We talk about sweet and sour and spicy.
how the elements all come together.
Yeah, the one thing about the microgreens that we do a little differently is we do those in the system here, which we actually also use a substrate that's almost like a mat. It's only about this thin. And so when we harvest it, it's one long sheet. We actually can cut that mat like a rug and give the people what they want. When they get that in the restaurant, that's also still alive. It's still growing in that mat, and they cut it as they need it in the restaurant, which is typically they use it up that day. But if they didn't, it would still be alive the next day because it's you keep it in the cooler. So it's a really efficient way to grow. It adds a ton of flavor to any dish. I mean, and there's so many varieties of microgreens. And if you want something spicy, you want something sweet, you want something to have a little more herbaceous flavors, you just pick a different microgreen.
And they describe it. You know, it's my first full year as culinary director to work with each and every one of the chefs, you know, to learn their personality, you know, to get their taste and my taste. And say, hey, I like this. And I'm going to have a lot of fun this year and going forward, getting each and every, you know, we try to use microgreen. This is really growing exceptionally well. Our gardener, Ben, last night was trying to sorrel, sorrel. So, you know, he's passionate, you're passionate, I'm passionate. We're just, you know, I'm really grateful to be, you know, around this type of operation, growing it with the zero carbon footprint and having it right in the fingertips. It's really fortunate.
Our gardener, Ben, he actually has a PhD in plant science from Washington University. He actually is the one that built all of our LED grow lights. He's the one that came up with the system that we're going to be operating in the basement, which is also water cooled. And so it's pretty awesome to be working with people that are so into what they're doing, that they're knowledgeable, a lot of experience, and everybody sort of brings something different to the table. But in the end, it all ends up on your plate, and it all ends up being a delicious meal in one of them.
You know, and they're coming from a science standpoint, but they also seem like they're passionate about gardening. You know, like they're mixing the two hobbies of what their knowledge is, and then talking to the owners and see what they want to create. And you have given them an opportunity to really expand in the basement. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it should be a really cool thing. We'll have to get that on video once we get it up and running. Do another series down there in the basement.
If you're watching us, if you would like us on Hamilton Hospitality on Facebook for our group, and we'll be, you know, once we get up and rolling again, we're going to be definitely, you know, posting more stuff live and Facebook Live from Hamilton Hospitality. And, you know, Paul posts stuff, I post stuff, but we're really genuinely excited about this, his 4-year project on this, and definitely getting them back in the soil and garden. You know, that's all I really have today.
The only other thing I will add is I can see it's still hard to figure out how to social distance, especially when you're doing a video on a camera, on a phone, I should say. But mind you, we are socially distancing as a restaurant. I'm actually on the St. Louis City Task Force to come up with what the rules and regulations and guidelines we need for restaurants to reopen their dining rooms. We just had a meeting this morning with other local restaurateurs to determine some things that we think need to be put in place to make sure the public is safe. We want to make sure that when we reopen, we're doing it in a responsible manner and that you feel comfortable when you come in. A lot of that's going to have to do with distancing of our tables. So we may not have quite as vibrant of a feel in the restaurants because we're not going to be able to see as many guests indoors. We are lucky and fortunate that we have a tremendous amount of outdoor space, which we can spread people out in, and we're excited for that. But it's a big deal to us, and we want you to know that when you do come back in the restaurants, you're going to be very safe. We have tremendous sanitation procedures put in place that were put in place prior to the COVID-19 outbreak, and we've increased those tremendously since then. And we will be opening in a way that is not only scientifically responsible, but also ethically responsible, and making sure that we're taking care of our staff and doing everything that's needed. So we look forward to getting you back at the doors when we can, and until then, go plant some plants and grow some vegetables on your own. It's a good time to do it when you're at home.
Well, thank you, Paul, for an incredible amount of information. And happy Earth Day, happy Earth Week. And I hope you enjoyed our virtual tour, and be safe. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
he's like, you know what's the time? He goes, 1:33. I'm like,
You got 30 minutes. It takes forever. You got 2 minutes.
oh,